how to price your Etsy products. There really is no perfect formula for pricing your Etsy items, and anyone that tells you there is lying. There are so many variables aside from just price that can determine the success of your Etsy listing. Essentially, what it boils down to, if I'm being completely honest, is really asking yourself the right questions, followed by doing some competitive market research to really see where you belong in the Etsy marketplace and at what price point. At the end of the day, if you have really good products, good quality products per your niche compared to your competition, and you are reasonably priced per your niche, then you should sell when you go to market. So in this video, we're gonna figure out where you belong, at what price point you belong for your own Etsy products, and how you're gonna be able to figure this out for yourself by basically, like I said, asking yourself these essential questions and then doing the proper research to determine what range of price that you belong in. All right, guys, let's get into the video. Welcome back, guys. So the first question that you really need to ask yourself is, who is my customer? So who is the customer avatar that I'm going to be selling these products to? Because based off of who your customer is and knowing who your customer is, that is one KPI or one key point indicator on what price points you should even be considering for your products. Understanding who your customer is, or understanding who your dream customer is, says a lot about how they're going to be willing to spend on your products. Let's just talk about a few types of different customer avatars that are out there, right? You have the customer avatar that is always looking to get the best price. You have another customer avatar out there that the perception of lower price means lower quality. So sometimes lower price actually doesn't benefit you because the perception of the quality of your item is diminished because you're just the cheapest guy out there. And there's the customer avatar that is looking for maybe getting more for less. So maybe your price point for that listing essentially isn't the cheapest price, but they're getting more for less in a way. So the idea of bundling something together, because the perception is, okay, well, even though I'm gonna spend more than my competitor's listing, I'm gonna get more of that thing than if I buy from this other listing. And then sometimes it's a hybrid of all three of these things, where they are looking to get to the best price, but they still want the best quality, and they still want to get that perception of more for less. So all of those things get determined based off of your competitor analysis when you're doing your product research, which is what we're going to cover here. And for you, what's winning when it comes to picking your price is really defining what customer is this customer. So what customer do I actually want? So let me give you some examples of what I just talked about here, right? So the person that's looking to compete on price, somebody that's selling business to business, which means they're selling business products to other business owners, like say packaging supplies or logo stickers and stuff like that, right? I am a business owner. I package my items here in-house, so I use a lot of packaging stuff, right? When I'm personally going to find packaging supplies, I'm looking for the cheapest price. Why? Because I need to keep my costs down, because the least that I can spend with still keeping decent quality, that's more profit in my pocket, right? So that's a price competitive niche. If you compare this to, say, someone, say, in the fast fashion jewelry niche, like somebody like a Caitlin Minimalist that's not necessarily selling solid gold, but pieces for under $100, I can guarantee you that the quality of the Caitlin Minimalist jewelry you can also find on Etsy at an even cheaper price point. But why does Caitlin Minimalist have so many more sales than, say, somebody that's selling a similar item at a lower price? Well, jewelry is a very perceptual based niche, right? And that's why you can see these scenarios where you have one person selling a necklace for $80, but then you have another store selling it for $8 and the quality is the exact same. And that's because it's a perceptual based niche. Not all niches can get away with this, but that again is something that you need to determine. The key difference with these perceptual based niches is the marketing factor. So usually these higher end perceived jewelry companies that are selling at a higher price point, even though the quality is not necessarily better, is because of the way that they market their items. And they do really, really professional photography, really good copywriting, videos. Perception then becomes that it's higher quality. And this is not just true on Etsy. This is when you go to your local shopping mall. It's just up to you, and you have to decide what your own goals are for your business. Now, with knowing what's on the table, let's do a little bit more product research to really see what the market's telling us. Now I have Sales Samurai pulled up, which Sales Samurai is my tool that I use for all of my Etsy store optimization. Essentially, they have shop competitor trackers, SEO tools for listing creation, keyword research tools that basically show you search volumes on your potential keywords that you want to use in your listings. I use Sales Samurai literally for everything, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to use the tool for this case scenario. But if you're interested in checking them out for yourself, make sure that you go ahead and actually use my discount code in the link in my description. The code is Etsy, and that's going to get you 20% off your membership. So make sure that you use that code and click the link in the description. Here's an example where I typed in silk scrunchie, right? So I'm using their search tool here, the basic search tool. And essentially I want to see what listing on Etsy is getting the most views for that keyword. So if I wanted to go and sell silk scrunchie, right? Obviously the listing that is getting the most exposure, that Etsy is giving them the most exposure, is probably doing something right if they have the most views. So if I scroll down here, and this, I love this little section in Sales Samurai, they're literally showing me what listing has the most views on Etsy for that keyword. We can see here silk scrunchie doesn't have that much search volume, but other keywords like scrunchies has a lot of search volume. So I might want to put that word actually in the beginning of my title if I was gonna make this listing, but that's just another KPI that Sales Samurai gives you. But I'm not too concerned with that yet because I'm just comparing price. So like I said, if you come down here, I can sort all the people that use silk scrunchies in that keyword in their listing over here, and I can sort it by the most viewed. So this guy right here has gotten over 68,000 views to that listing. Remember, this is showing me the top viewed listing that has that keyword in their listing. So let's just click on this guy here. So I already kind of checked this out. I thought it was really interesting how Sales Samurai pointed this out. This one actually had the most views. When I typed in silk scrunchie, just in the search bar here, when I come down after the first row of ads, when I come to the second row, the first one that shows up, obviously, when you just go into your Etsy search bar and you search a keyword, it's going to biasly show you listings in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth position because it optimizes based off your location. So this doesn't stay true to everyone, but I just thought it was interesting that when I searched this for the first time, this one was in page 1, position 1. And like I said, these search pages change around the positioning based off your location. And Etsy is also super cryptic about how listings get ranked on the first page. But with that being said, I still believe if you make it to the first page, that says something about your listing in its entirety. And I thought it was interesting that Sales Samurai said that this one is basically the #1 most viewed listing for that keyword. And this one just so happened to be in page 1, position 1, and it has a bestseller badge. And I believe it has, 20 add to carts. And the reason I think this is so interesting is because both listings have the same exact color template of the items, even though it's 2 different listings. That's just really good, valuable data to tell you what's winning on Etsy. But back to price point. So here's 2 examples that seems to be working out really, really well. Now, the reason why the 350 is probably getting this guy the most views on Etsy is because on the front end, when someone's seeing this image in the Etsy search pages, they're saying, wow, you get 6 scrunchies for only 350. And then what that does by default, it's earning them that click. Now, unfortunately, you're not actually getting 6 scrunchies. You're only getting 1 scrunchie for 350. And this listing also does not offer free shipping. Where this guy over here is saying it's 23.80 and it's also showing 6 scrunchies as well. But as we see, this guy, you're actually getting all 6 scrunchies for $23.80, whereas the other guy, you're getting 1 scrunchie only, and you're also not getting free shipping. But you see in this case scenario, both of those are working. Now, the reason why the first one that Sales Samurai is pulling for us, which is why it's so important to use tools like Sales Samurai, the reason why this one is probably doing more in volume is because they're showing that lower price on the front end. Now, this is not to be deceiving, but when people see 6 scrunchies and $3.50, it's gonna earn you that click. And as you know, the hardest part about all of this is just earning that click. So if I was considering making a product like this is the price range that I would want to test out. And I would want to test out both case scenarios probably too, where you're showing the lower price on the front end, or maybe in this case as well, where it's free shipping and the higher price on the front end. You actually can test this out. And that's the beautiful thing with Etsy is Etsy allows you to split test your listings and see what converts better. Because in some case scenario, especially when you're competing on price, sometimes it's better to not offer free shipping so you can show the cheaper price on the front end. You can actually go and test that, because if I wanted to compete with this, I could test out both of these types of listings, one like this, and then also like this where it shows $3.50 on the front end. And then I can go run an ad to both of them, don't change anything except for the price and the free shipping, and see which one gets a higher CTR, followed by which one actually ends up making me more revenue. And who knows what you might find. That's why it's all subject to test. There's so many things that go into justifying a price. You realize that your competitor has a feature or better quality or something like that, then obviously you probably aren't gonna want your price to be higher than somebody else's, that it's clear as day they're marketing a special feature or special personalization component that you don't offer, right? All of those things weigh into where you should be priced at. There's about 4 main variables that you need to consider other than just setting a price to your product. When you're doing this type of competitor analysis, like you just saw in that scrunchie example, right? You're looking for quantity. So how much are you getting versus how much you're paying? Quality. So that example, what we were just looking at those price points, I typed in silk scrunchie, but actually all of those listings were selling silk satin scrunchies. So they weren't 100% pure silk. So if you're somebody that was selling pure silk, then you have a justification for why yours actually should be more expensive. And then you're also going to attract a different customer avatar, because somebody that's specifically looking for pure silk scrunchies is completely different than somebody who wants a knockoff silk like the silk satin. Product features, so maybe you have an additional product feature that your competition doesn't have. And finally, does your marketing outshine your competitors? When you put up your Etsy image that you're gonna use for your main image photography, and you compare that against your top 10 competitors, does your marketing of your photography outshine your competitors? If you're in a niche where a lot of your competition is actually lacking with their product photography, then that's actually a really huge opportunity for you to outshine your competitors, and you can create that perception of better quality just based off your marketing. Now, at the end of the day, it's obviously important to make a profit. We start businesses to make profit. Hopefully now you understand why working out an equation like my cost is $10, I have to sell it for 5x what my cost is, why that equation doesn't work. Because like I said, there's so many variables that go into deciding what your price should be. Now, obviously, after you do this market research, if you see that once you crunch the numbers, you're not gonna make any profit and you don't have the capability to come into the marketplace with these value propositions, with this value in quality or quantity or perception of value, all this stuff, right? After you do that type of analysis and you crunch the numbers, you realize that you can't beat or meet your competitors, then you need to reevaluate investing a lot of time and money in going into that niche or into those products, because it might not be worth your while, because you're just not going to be competitive in the marketplace at all. And I suggest you do that type of competitive analysis before, like I said, spend a lot of time and a lot of money on products that aren't going to sell. And essentially, this is what I do every single time I'm going into a new niche or a new product. I'm looking at what the market's telling me, and then I'm backtracking and then going and crunching the numbers and see if I can meet or beat people where they're at. If you guys don't know me, my name is Hannah Gardner. I teach people how to build brands on Shopify and Etsy. I've sold sold over $2 million between my Etsy brands and my Shopify brands, and I've been just documenting that journey here on my channel, giving you guys as much value as possible back, mostly because I didn't have this type of help when I was first starting out, and I truly believe that having more growth mindset people in this world makes the world a better place. So if that is what you're into, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.